Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. Today we're going to talk about investing $1,000. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was first getting started, it took me a while to get $1,000. I think I've talked about it in other videos. The first way I started out was cashback credit cards. And it would take me a year and a half to get $500. And so that meant 2 or 3 years to get $1,000. But let's assume you got $1,000. And today we're going to look at just $1,000 period. If you have $1,000 plus you can muster $100 a month. And we're going to look at if you have gotten $1,000 and you've gotten $100 plus per month. The different investments that you could do to help save money. Where to invest it to keep it safe yet make it grow. P.S. Bank savings account 18 inch. Alright, so let's assume that you've got $1,000 and that's all you got. You got nothing else for the rest of the year. It's taking you a while to get $1,000. And this would apply mostly to young people and kids, I would say. So where could you put your money that you could start investing and have $1,000 be safe? Well, the first thing you could do is you could put it into a mutual fund. You can open most mutual funds with $1,000. There are some out there that cost more. But if you decide to do a mutual fund, you make sure that you get one that is called no load. That means there's no charges. They'll take your $1,000, put it in a mutual fund, and periodically you'll make interest on it. That's what you're looking for. No fees. If there's fees, you're out. Now the second one, I learned about this years ago when my then mother-in-law gave me a double H bond. I had no idea what that was. I had to go to the bank and ask questions. Now, back when I was young, we had Series E bonds, and you could go to the bank, and for $18.75, they would give you a $25 double E bond. And what that meant was in 7 years and some months, for $18.75, in that amount of time, they would give you $25. Now, the cool thing about those bonds is they paid interest for many years. After a certain amount of years, they stopped. And I think the government got rid of them because the interest rates were pretty decent, and people were holding on to those for years and years and years. So that when they cashed that $18.75 bond in, they were getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars back. And I know that to be a fact because I was in the banking industry. I saw them come through. So Series H bonds. So how those work is, and by the way, you can't get these through the bank. You have to go through the government. I think you can get them online, or you can go through the bank. You can't buy them there, but you can go through the bank. You have to get them from the government. And I think the minimum is $100. So you give them $100, they send you a $100 bond, and that makes the interest over time. What the interest rate is, I have no clue. I'm assuming it's low, but it's secure. It's backed by the federal government. And I would do that. I would, especially if the market is like it is now and it's so volatile, rather than go through that, just go buy a double H bond, stick it in your underwear drawer, and move on. Now the next one I'm going to tell you is not going to sound like an investment, but in my mind it is. If you've got any credit card debt at all, and not just credit card, but specifically credit card right now and any high interest debt like from a finance company, you take that $1,000 and you pay one of those off. And here's why. you're not going to be making interest, but you'll be saving interest. Because the average credit card, if you're paying between 18 and 21%, and you pay off a $1,000 credit card, you just made 18 to 21% per year. That's a good investment. You're not going to find a better investment than that. So pay off any high interest loans that you've got with that $1,000, and then take the money that you're saving from that and then save another $1,000 and then go do one of the other ones. Now, let's assume that you've managed to save $1,000, and each month, if you try really hard, you could save another $25 a week. So now you've got $1,000 that you want to invest and $100 a month. The first thing I would do is I would probably get an S&P 500 index fund. And I'll tell you why. Because you'll get the benefits of a run in the stock market. You'll get the protection of professionals learning how to do shorts and puts and all of that stuff to protect the downside. And most funds that you buy into for $1,000, they have a minimum that they will come into your checking account each month to take $100 out. So you got $1,000 plus $100 a month, and you got a guaranteed interest. You can do the same thing with Robinhood. You could take $1,000, open your own account on Robinhood, which, by the way, there is no cost to you for trades on Robinhood. You take the $1,000, go buy some stock, and each month you take $100 and you go buy. That way you're in total control of where your money's at. I would only recommend that for people that enjoy doing research on stocks, that have issues about controlling their own money. But if you enjoy that and you want to go do that you could do that. Years ago, you couldn't do that. But now for $1,000, and it's not even $1,000, you could open a Robinhood account for $100. But go open a Robinhood account, and here's an idea. You could put $500 into, or put $100 in a Robinhood, and then put the rest of it into an S&P 500 account. Let the S&P 500 account sit there, and then just add your $100 to the Robinhood, or vice versa. That way you got two investments going at the same time for $1,000 plus $100. Here's another idea. You could take that $1,000 and do exactly what I said don't do at the beginning of this video, and keep it in savings. And I'll tell you why. Because, especially if you're young, once you get to $3,000 or $4,000, you could go buy a piece of real estate for that, because you could get in for 3%, 3.5% down, and most states have first-time home buyer benefits. So for a couple $1,000s, you'll be able to buy your first little home. That's a good investment, starting with just $1,000. That might take you an extra year or two. But once you get that piece of real estate, if you rent it out, now you're going to be generating an additional several $100s a month on top of what you're already savings. Another thing you could do would be to open a mutual fund for $1,000, and again, dollar cost average in $100 a month. Just have them come into your account, take the $100 a month, and just let that go for the rest of your life. Now, is it going to grow quickly? No. $100 a month is $1,200 a year, but it's $6,000 in 5 years. That's $12,000 in 10 years, plus at this point we're going to start talking about compound interest. So over time, $1,000 up front plus $100 a month could get you somewhere pretty quick. Now, The last part of this I want to talk about is if you have $1,000 saved up and you've got $100 plus per month to invest. And just because you're at one of these doesn't mean you can't be at the next one. As an example, let's say that you're at the $1,000 and you can muster $25 a week. So you got $100 a month. What if you get a pay raise? What if that pay raise is only $1 an hour? That's $160 a month. Minus taxes, that's $110, $120 a month. So now you got an extra $110 a month that you can invest. And that's what you should be doing with your raises and unexpected windfalls that come in. Now here's some ideas, and actually at this point, investments become wide open as a general rule, with the exception of what the big boys do, okay? Like, you could open your index fund, your S&P 500 index fund, plus open your Robinhood account. You know, you could put the $1,000 in one, and then the next month take $100 and put it in your Robinhood account. And each month after that, invest $100 in Robinhood. And every time you get a windfall, you put it in your S&P 500. There's an idea. Another idea would be, what if you took $500 of that and put it in one of the funds we've talked about, and then kept the other $500 out in a savings account and just kept adding to your savings account to go buy a piece of real estate? There's an idea. Or you could go open a mutual fund, and this is what I did. When I had the mutual fund and I was doing the cashback credit cards, I kept adding to that. Now, it took 5 or 6 years, but I kept adding to that till I had enough money for a down payment on a little rental house, and then we went and bought a little rental house. That rental house turned out to be generating cash, and we took that cash and reinvested it, and it went on from there. We now own 3 little rental houses, each one of them generating $400 a month cash flow, plus what we're saving on our own. So you don't have to make a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of money to make investments. The trick is to get started, to stick with it, to reinvest everything that you make. Don't take anything out. As long as you're working and you're making money, every penny that you can save, every penny that your investments make, every penny that you save should go right back into your investments. And you'll be surprised at how quickly that adds up. So whether you've got $1,000 and that's it, $1,000 plus you can put together $100 a month, or you got $1,000 plus you got over $100 a month, there is an investment for you that is both short-term and easy, long-term and easy, or long-term and not so easy. The not so easy one is the real estate, because that will take time, that will take effort, but that one will build wealth over time. You might become a millionaire doing the stock index fund if you're young and you start young and you do it religiously. You might become a millionaire, but you won't become wealthy. A millionaire is not wealthy. Wealthy is when you're living off of your income and your investments are growing other investments. And I've often said that wealth is when your investments, is how your investments perform. Income is how you perform. Isn't it amazing? I have never heard an airplane fly over here in 20 years, and I sit down to do a recording and there's a jet flying over our apartment. But if you remember the difference between income and wealth, If you want to go for wealth, you build multiple income streams, investment streams with your investments. And you keep funding the main investment with your savings. So with our savings, we continue to invest in real estate. With the cash flow from the real estate, we continue to invest in other assets. But we keep throwing cash right back into it. We don't take a penny out. Well, I hope that answers your question, gives you some ideas on different ways that you can take $1,000, invest it, and make it worth your while right now. You guys have a great day, a great week, and happy investing.